This is Erica Michele from Houston, Texas. What's brewing today?
S curls, finger waves, and pink lotion.
Wendy Williams, Kerel versus Dawon. It wasn't me.
And ask your aunties, lovers and friends. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
That was off.
That was so off.
That's okay. Hey, community.
Good morning, community. How y'all doing today?
We're starting a little off, but that's okay. And girl, we already don't have like half an episode before we even start recording this. Dawon's on the roll already, y'all, so be ready.
Be ready, y'all.
I got a whole lot of opinions, so get ready, community.
Said, excuse me, I got something to say.
Right. And I'm going to say it right now.
Don't give me the mic.
No, I'm going to take it. Give it to me.
You know, it's like at church when, you know, it's time to go and pastor's still going. And so I'm like, come on, pastor. Ooh. Like, nah.
It's like, come on.
Quiet. We're trying to get up out of here.
It's like, I'm trying to eat.
Right. Oh my goodness.
You two doing all right today?
Okay, I have a confession for the community because you guys already know, but I have to say, I have to like confess for the community. Two episodes ago. So you guys know that I'm not in the cannabis industry, so you can see where this is going. You might have noticed that I was not as talkative as I had been in a whole lot of other episodes, in every other episode.
And why was that?
Well, I decided to take an edible right before... I decided to take an edible right before we started doing our podcast. And the thing of it is like, first of all, I don't normally do it, but I've been doing all this quote unquote market research, testing out the products.
What they call it. We're doing these Costco samples over here.
Right. Girl, I got a whole pharmacy up here in my apartment. There's just like all kinds of cannabis products just lingering about. But the reason I took it was because I figured, well, usually edibles take the longest to kick in. So usually 45 minutes, sometimes up to 2 hours before you start feeling the effects. And so I took like 10 milligrams, and right before the podcast started, thinking that, okay, well, it's going to be it's going to like de-elevate my mood. It's going to get me a little bit chill so that when I have to go to sleep, because I was on the West Coast. And so when I get ready to go to sleep, I'll be tired. I'll have a good night's sleep. And then I'll wake up refreshed and I'll fly out the next morning. Girl, that thing kicked in. It said, I don't care what you thought I was going to kick in. I'm kicking in right now. Because literally 15 minutes into it, I was just like quiet. And then a whole half an hour to 45 minutes in there in my head, I'm having all these conversations and I'm having all these like thoughts like, oh, I need to say this and I'm going to say this and nothing's coming out. And then I realized I hadn't said anything in 45 minutes on this podcast. So for the rest of the whole podcast, all I could get out was ad-libs. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
She was doing the Migos ad-libs.
The best part is community. Y'all couldn't see her face. Like, She was sitting there and she just looking in the camera. And you know how your auntie just look across you from the other side of the room, be like, don't you do it? She had that look the whole time.
Entire episode.
So every time I was saying something, I was like, ooh, she don't like what I'm saying. Oh, she about to say something.
I was thinking the same thing.
And the killer part about it was you guys were doing, so thank you both, because you guys were giving pauses to allow me to participate in the conversation, but bitch, wasn't nothing coming out of my mouth at all.
It was so funny to edit that episode because I was like, damn, Dawon didn't say shit this episode.
And the killer part about it is we all record separately. So I'll be looking at my little, like my own version of the recording and I see the little wave lines that indicate like, oh, if there's like background noise or, if my levels are too loud. And it was just flatline. The whole time. So I'm like, okay, that's not happening ever again in life. So I apologize, community.
She redeemed herself on last week's episode, though. Last episode was cute.
I listened to yesterday's episode. I'm on my 2.5 times re-listening to that episode. That was some good tea. That was some really good tea. Not to like pat like ourselves on the back, but like sometimes you just have to like, like praise yourself.
Uplift ourselves. Yes. Sometimes we gotta encourage ourselves. Come on now.
But it was a really good episode. Community, I hope y'all enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed having the conversation, but we hope you enjoyed it.
Definitely.
That curiosity at the end. Woo. I was listening back to that. I was like, we really said that. I was like, ooh.
It's like, are we really answering these questions?
I was like, oh my God, people know way too much about me. Like,
way too
much about me.
Yeah, you do get exposed.
Especially our sex lives. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why we keep getting into our sex lives.
Because you nasty, girl. Because you nasty.
Hey.
Nasty, put some clothes on, why don't
Living
you?
in a nasty world. Oh man, but community, hopefully your week is starting nicely here.
Yes.
Got a little frog in my throat.
That ain't the only thing she's going to have in that throat tonight.
Oh,
you know what?
Hey, I hope so. Actually, no, Corey's been sick all week, so she slept in the guest room last night, actually. I'm like, praise Jesus to keep your germs away.
She said, praise Jesus. Corey gonna be like, look. He gonna be like,
no, he volunteered.
Oh, he volunteered?
Like,
okay.
He volunteered. He's like, you know what? He's like, I'm not feeling well. I don't want to get you sick. I'm going to sleep in another room. I'm like, thank you, babe. That's so kind.
Jerrell, do you ever sleep outside of your bedroom? Like, do you sleep on the sofa sometimes?
Only when we fighting.
It's so funny that I do the same thing. Well, not only when we're fighting, because there's some times when, like, if I know I'm going to be up late and Adam goes to bed at a certain time, I'll just sleep on the sofa. Like, because
that's what Corey does.
Yeah. But it's just like, that's something about when you get booed up that you really don't really understand or appreciate until you're in the situation. You're like, I got to have my own space. I'm sorry. We got to not look at each other for a little bit.
For 24/7.
Right, exactly.
I know, like when Corey and I were both like between jobs, it was the first time that we were just literally in each other's space all day, every day.
How was that?
At first it was cool because like our schedules are opposite. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times I'm going to work, or like his off days are in the middle of the week and mine are the typical weekend. Mm-hmm. So we don't get a lot of days where we're both off at the same time, unless like one of us takes a day off or whatever it may be. So it was the first time in a while that we had that bulk of time together. And at first it was nice, do normal couple shit during the day, run some errands, take a little trip here and there. But after a while, you get used to your little time to yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't stare at this. I love you with all of my heart and being. But if
I'm
you stare at my face one more time today, you go to your room, I'm gonna go to my room. I see you in bed, boo.
See, that's why we've been looking for like 2 bedrooms, because right now we're just in this 1 bedroom, and y'all both live in places where like you got split levels, y'all got the extended levels, so you got different sides of the place. Mm-hmm. No.
It's only
living room, in the bedroom, so we just always be in each other's face. But
it's true.
You can always crash at Jones if you need to.
That's true.
That's true. Over there, like, hey girl, I need to crash for a minute. She's like, okay, get over. I'll cook you some salmon.
And I feel like that's stuff that like your parents don't even tell you. Like, I'm sure there's days where they're like, I cannot stand looking at this MFer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean you don't adore them, love them. It's just like sometimes you just need some time to yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. My parents are divorced. I don't know.
So they found a way.
That's one way.
My mom over here doing how Stella got her groove back at the age of 50. So
I'm
over
mad
there
at
roll
her.
Bouncing.
Hey,
she's like,
mama.
She's like, I got 3 boos. I said, you got 3 boos? She was like, I'm a grown woman. I was like, and
she's
yes,
stunting
you
on
is.
us.
Right?
You better stunt on us, Ma. I'm here for
it. You better go, Rhonda. You do you, boo. Do you.
She said, I got me 3 boos.
See, you have the same thing that I have with my mom. It's like, it can be beautiful and it can be like clashing. Because your mom just came and you had like some interesting moments.
We had a fallout. We had a fallout the very first day she got here. And we stayed up till like 4 o'clock in the morning yelling. And I was like, you can get your ass right back on that same plane that you brought your ass over here, because not in my house. Not my house. And the next morning we woke up. I was like, hey, Mom, how you doing? We made some breakfast. We had a good old time. We ha-ha and kiki.
I got in a fight with my mom on vacation. We went to Jamaica for my uncle's wedding. And my mom gets really bad motion sickness. And so not only did she have to like travel on the plane, but then when we landed, it was like 4.5 hours on some dirt road dodging chickens in some like open air chicken coop.
That is true.
You know, with like big ass pterodactyl like insects flying in and shit like this at 3 a.m. And then we finally get to the resort or whatever. And I can't even remember what it was. Mom, when you listen to this, can you call me and remind me what it was that we got into an argument about? All I remember saying,
was being wrong?
No, I was not wrong.
Look,
I was not, because
we don't need to get Mom on this podcast.
Right, we're gonna have to ask Mom.
you
for
can
real,
get
for
her
real.
on here. She not. All I remember was
Hey, Michele.
Hey, Michele.
all I remember was we were supposed to be rooming together, and I was already dreading it because my mom snores, and I'm a super light sleeper. But we got into a huge argument. She's like, I can't remember who said it first, but something like, and we're not rooming together either. And I remember saying, fine with me. And that was the end of that conversation.
That is funny. I'm trying to think. Me and my mom, for the most part, get along. Like, I don't remember too many blowout like arguments. We're not yellers, so like it might be some passive aggressive stuff.
See, sometimes that passive aggressive stuff hurts you to the core, right? Because at least when you're arguing, you just get it out your system.
Get it out in the
so
open.
then it's like you don't even have energy left over to carry over any resentment. You're just like, okay, well, that's done. Let's go have bacon and eggs.
Right. See you at breakfast. Oh man, but yeah.
But before we get
too far, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, make sure you subscribe, download, share, review with your aunties, your uncles, your family, your friends. We're trying to expand and glow up in 2020. So please help us out. We appreciate when you guys tag us in your little IG stories.
Yes.
Put them on your little posts, whatever. We see them all, and we try to like and share them all back as well. So continue to do that. We appreciate it so much.
And I would also encourage you, if there is anybody in your life that is, that you're struggling with a birthday gift, a graduation gift, a Hanukkah gift, or any kind of gift, a podcast, getting them hip to a podcast that they would enjoy and that they feel that they could be part of something is a great gift. And girl, it's free.
Yeah, right. Last episode, we said our podcast don't cost a thing.
Sure did. Don't have me sing that song again. I was about to sing it again.
And that was so unplanned. I was like, oh, man. It's literally, we be cycling up now at this point.
We really do.
It's hard to believe that we are like, this is what, episode 54 for us?
Yeah.
So this is like, we've been doing this for damn near a year. It's crazy. And a lot of it has to do with you guys that are out there. So thank you for your encouragement, your support, and all the engagement that you guys have been doing on posts and with us separately. And, as long as you guys are liking it, we'll continue to love it and we'll continue to give it.
Exactly.
And thanks to Erica for bringing us in today.
Yes,
Erica. Yes,
thanks,
from
girl.
Houston. Yes.
Houston, Texas, baby. Oh, man.
Yeah,
If I lived in
awesome.
Houston, I would do that every single time I introduce myself. Oh, Kerel, where do you live? Houston, Texas, baby. Come on, you got to do Beyonce all day, every day.
Feel that? I feel. Oh my God. Unrelated to Beyonce. Shockingly.
I know,
It's
like
not really-
blasphemy. I'm like on the edge of my seat. Like, what could possibly?
It-
Right, I was like, don't tell me she got the album out.
No, it's
This
not related to
interruption.
Beyonce at all. This was a hard turn.
Okay.
But I wanted to say I did one of the whitest things I've ever done.
Not in Black History Month. Girl,
Yes.
Come on
I'm
now.
sorry,
Yes.
I was taking a
You
drink
know
of
what?
water
I
and
was,
just almost spit
I
that
was
out.
putting our people in spaces that that we don't typically occupy.
You were the speck of pepper
I sure was.
and a
I
whole
sure
sea of
was.
salt and sugar.
Literally in the sea of salt, or the sea of snow, I should say. But your girl went skiing.
How was it, though?
Yes.
You know what? She did that. But she was
did
on
that.
it. She was on it. She was on it.
So
I
you
did that
actually skied.
I skied. I went down the bunny hill one time just to make sure I knew how to get things going. And they were
So
like,
did
"Oh yeah,
you-
you gotta." They were
when
like,
you
"You
say
gotta
you
move your hips.
ski-
You gotta move your legs." And I was like, "Bitch, just like this stanky leg, bitch. I know how to turn. I know how to pivot like this." I was like, "Nah." I was literally thinking dance moves in my head. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna turn to the left. This is a little body roll this
Turn
way."
to the right.
And they were like, "Oh, your form is good." So I went down the little green hill. And I was like, okay, boom, let's do it again. Then we accidentally got on the wrong lift. I went down a blue hill, which is after a green hill. So I was
Okay.
like, well, what goes up must come down, I guess. Bitch, slayed that shit too. Then these motherfuckers have me like, well, I mean, you can do a blue. You want to do a black diamond? I said no. The only black diamond I'm doing in 2020 is Janet Jackson's tour. So what you're not going to do, what you're not going to do is set me up, bitch. Look, the goal was to be safe.
She gonna go up on that steep ass hill. And she gonna come down with a broken leg and be able to enjoy anything for the rest of this year.
Okay. I did take one nasty ass fall though. Where bitch, she like tumbled like a good 30 feet down the hill. It was. It was not cute, but
did it hurt?
Almost no, because it was like soft snow. It was actually like snowing heavily when we were there, so everything was very soft, and it snowed the day before too. But man, it was either that or run over this child. So I was like, and I just threw myself down the hill. You literally. Literally, that's honestly in my mind. That's what it really feels like. Because I saw this kid come in and I was like, I can't turn. You can't turn. And I was just like, just down the hill, bitch. Oh, man.
You know what that means? Girl, you're an adult now. That's exactly what that means.
That is super
But it was
funny.
real cool, though. I would do it again.
Okay.
In a heartbeat. I actually really enjoyed it. And it was cool. There was probably like another like 10 or 12 black folks up there. Maybe a total of like 20 POCs that I saw the whole day.
And this is Seattle,
Don't
right?
let us take over skiing too. Come on
look, okay. Okay. They don't want us up in the Winter Olympics too. It's just a wrap. It'll be a wrap. They already mad. Give them something. Give them something. Y'all can have that cold ass shit any day.
Oh man. But speaking of Black and the Black, what's our Black History Month moment of today?
So on this day, February 24th, 1864, Rebecca Lee became the first black woman to receive an MD degree from Boston University.
Okay now.
Come on, doctor.
Okay.
Come on, Boston University.
Yes. On February 25th, 1948, Martin Luther King was ordained as a Baptist minister.
Yeah.
On February 26, 1926, Carter G. Woodson started Negro History Week. This week would later become what we now know as Black History Month.
Hey.
Okay, all right.
Come on now.
Okay. And speaking of the Winter Olympics, February 27th, 1988, figure skater Debbie Thompson becomes the first African-American to win a medal, bronze, at the Winter Olympic Games.
Yes.
I used to love her. She had that bang.
Mm-hmm.
She had that it was like a big bang.
It was
too.
fluffy. It was like it wasn't like real straight curl. It was like it had some froth to it.
It was like her and Katarina Witt.
That's the kind of hair that you get when a grown woman uses Just For Me relaxer.
Shut up. Tell me when to burn.
It's not burning. Bitch, it's been in 2 hours. It's still not burning. Well, this got to come out.
That's funny.
You got the new look. It's called the Crinkle Girl.
Is that the box that had the mom and the daughter on the cover of the box?
Just for me. Just for me. I remember my sister had that stuff. That and that pink oil. What is it? Pink oil?
Lusters?
Something,
Lusters?
yes.
Lusters pink oil or something like that?
I used to love the smell of it.
We used to call it pink lotion.
I used to
pink
love
lotion.
the smell of that.
That's got to still be out there. Pink lotion.
Yeah, Pink Lotion is still out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's sure. I used to love the smell of that too.
Yeah, Luster's Pink Lotion.
I couldn't really use it because it was too like greasy for my hair, my hair texture. And then by the time like not being like a little kid or whatever, like I used it when I was a little kid. I remember my mom would put it in my hair or whatever and let it sit. But I had like really curly hair.
Yeah.
And it would always make it like super, 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 super greasy. And then that's when all of like the hair gels came out in like in the 90s and whatnot. And it was all about hair being crunchy. So I went from super black to like,
Right. I remember
black.
I asked my mom, I begged her to get me an S curl. See,
I can so see that.
And the funny thing is, like, my hair is already just naturally curly as it is. So it didn't curl it anymore. It just straightened my hair. It was like literally like a relaxer for dudes. And for, I guess, certain texture hair, yes, it would have made it more curly. But since my hair was already that kind of texture, all it did was straighten out my hair. And I remember we watched that mess out. Mom, chime in. Like, send us a message or a DM if you remember this. And I just remember being like, oh, my God. Like, what is this? Like,
the question is there a picture of it? Because that's what I want to see.
I don't know.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the picture.
Speaking of hairstyles,
there probably is.
One time, I had finger waves, y'all.
Finger waves these days, they fall like Humpty.
Bitch, I had finger waves. I sure did. And one time in my life, I had finger waves.
Sway?
Now that's what we need a picture of.
How?
I'm gonna have to find the picture, but I did.
I mean, did you have a relaxer first? And how long was your hair?
No, so my hair was long. At one point, I actually had braids in my hair. But no, that's how I know what a fucking hot comb actually feels like, bitch.
Wait, so they hot combed it before they finger wove it?
Yes, because my mom wasn't all about she wasn't about the perms. So we weren't getting our relaxers or anything like that.
How did you convince your mother to give her son
get you a
finger waves?
Because my godmom had finger waves and she looked so good and I love my godmama. And I was like, I want some finger waves like my godmama.
How old were you at this time?
Bitch, I was probably like 10.
Yeah,
I was probably like 9.
We're going to talk about this in a minute. We're going to talk about this in a minute.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
You know, what's funny is...
He thought he was missing motherfucking Elliot.
Super duper freak.
I can't stand the rain.
She said, my ways these days, they fall like Humpty Dumpty. I break up with him before he dumped me.
But again, this was the 90s. This was the 90s. So people were rocking finger waves in the 90s.
That is
okay?
true.
Not boys.
That is true. He said, not boys. Don't try me. Don't try him. I got your back, Jerrell. Don't try her.
I'm just saying. But I remember...
Says the person who likes girls with short haircuts, though, right?
Manifest destiny, bitch.
He said,
no, I like
day,
girls.
bitch.
I like girls with short haircuts and sideburns.
Sideburns, yes.
No, bitch, that's a man. That is a man.
Mari, that's a man. That's a man, Mari.
He said, little did I know I was describing him as a man.
I thought I was describing somebody like T-Boz, and no, bitch, I was describing a man.
That is so... Community, if we have some new community members, I don't know what episode that is. We're gonna have to look that up. But there was an episode, I don't even know what the hell we were talking about.
I don't either.
But I can't even keep a straight face right now. But Dawon was talking about I guess girls he was attracted to when he was younger or something like that. He was like, yeah, I like short hair with sideburns. And he's like, but I can't even get it out. He said, but little did I know, I was describing a man.
And dead serious.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. I am like crying so hard right now. Sorry, community. We'll get it together.
So wait a minute. Okay, so Jerrell, you basically got a perm, and you had finger waves. Kerel, you thought you was getting an S curl. Like, okay,
and I just got a relaxer.
So would you say that was like the worst hairstyle that you ever had? I'm not even
gonna put this picture out there, but I used to be a huge fan of Sean Kemp. And remember, he used to have the little, I don't even know what to call it, like the little pip up front haircut.
Yes.
And so at the time, my dad used to cut our hair. And he's not a licensed barber at all. And I wanted the Sean Kemp haircut so bad. And so my dad did a good job of convincing me that he could do it. And I was maybe 9. And instead of it being like the little Sean Kemp pip, it ended up being like a triangle. And it was so horrible, but he convinced me so much that it looked good and there was everything. I wore that thing for like a good couple months, thinking I was just illin', just like, look at me. You look back at these damn pictures. Like, we crack up about this all the time when we think about that haircut. It was the worst. It was literally a triangle up there of just hair. And then it wasn't even really like a fade because he didn't really know how to fade well. So it was almost like a harsh line.
See?
And then it was like bald. Oh, it was horrible. It's the worst thing on
See, that
earth.
would be hot right now, though. Like, that kind of look would be hot. Because
I don't know.
If you've seen hairstyles right now, it's like anything goes.
That's true.
But back in the day,
guess.
you had to pick from 1 to 25 on the wall, and that's what you were getting.
So did.
Did y'all used to get the designs in your head?
I did. I used to get the designs in my head too. I don't know. I think I had 2 other really bad hair experiences. So, later on, I want to say I was probably like 13. I think I was like in middle school. Like, I was trying to regrow out my hair, and it was in that weird awkward stage where it wasn't big enough to be quite a fro, but then it was like too small and it looked like a helmet. And I was like, I just want to cut it off. I want to cut it off. So my mom convinced me to she was like, well, let me put these let me put it like some little ponytails in it or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, okay. And then she was like, hold on. So then she was like, and then what we can do is we can put this, I forget the grease on it, but it was like a hair growth grease. So it was like to help, your hair breathe so your hair could grow fast, whatever. Bitch, when I tell you I had about 25 little Cocoa Puffs on my head, looking like fucking Hellraiser.
Not Cocoa Puffs.
But I'm talking about 25, little balls, little Afro ball cheese puffs in my head, all over my damn head.
I rock rough and stuff with my Cocoa Puffs.
Jerrell was like the 1990s Cabbage Patch doll.
Let me tell you. I look
like Jada Pinkett Smith from The Matrix.
Right.
That's what it was like. Absolutely. But you add about 15 more. Add 15 more. That's exactly what it was. It was so bad.
Cocoa Puffs.
It was so bad. Wow. Yeah. And then in 2015, after I had been left by my ex at that time, I had grew out my hair and I wanted to kind of have something like what you have right now, Kerel.
Uh-huh.
But kind of like your story, it was supposed to curl my hair and relax the fuck out of my hair. And I had to wear I first of all, I cut all that shit off. But the relaxer was still in my hair, that my hair didn't look right. So I looked like I was
it wouldn't lay.
sick.
It wouldn't lay.
Right.
No. So it was like running in all different directions. And I looked like I'd just been life was hard. I was like,
you ever
I'm
see that
actually
meme?
doing okay. I know I just got broken up with, but it ain't that bad. I wore a hat for the next.
Sweating right now.
You ever see that meme
months.
of it's been out for a long time, but it says something like, whenever white people say their best friend is black, this is who they talking about. And it's some black dude that's got hair that's super relaxed but spiky and shit like that with spikes around his neck and under eyeliner. That's what I'm picturing.
Girl,
that is too funny.
It was not cute, Boots. It was not cute.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like, especially in the black community and probably the POC, Hispanic community, we've all had them bad haircuts and them bad hairstyles, and you're just ooh, that's why it's so good they find a good barber.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I moved, that was my biggest worry. It wasn't trying to make friends. It wasn't trying to get into the new house or apartment. It was who's going to cut my hair? That is literally numero uno for me in any city I move to.
I growing up, I had the same barber for such a long time, and then by the time I got into middle school, high school, I started going to the beauty salon because I found that the way that my hair laid, if I got my hair cut by a barber, because it curls, it would never look the same from the day that I got it cut. So, but I think the thing that I remember for bad hairstyles, it wasn't really a bad hairstyles because I liked it, but I got made fun of so bad. I remember I went over to my dad's and my dad was dating some woman, and then she had a couple of kids, and she had one of her oldest daughters was 16. And for some reason, I just didn't really idolize her, but like I really kind of looked up to her because she was older and she used to dye her jeans with bleach in the sink. And I just thought that was so cool. And so
she was so fashion forward.
Right. For some reason, that was like the thing for me. And so I remember we were staying over at my dad's, you know, and he was staying with this chick or whatever. And for some reason we were watching, not Flashdance, Fame. And you remember Leroy from Fame?
Uh-huh.
So he had the cornrows.
Uh-huh.
So I was obsessed. Just Providence at this point. I'm just manifesting my own destiny at this point. So I begged her to like cornroll my hair. And so she did. I came home. I left with like a little like I came to my dad's place with my little curly fro or whatever, and then I left looking like a thug. But I just loved my little look. I was like this. I was just feeling the braids in my hair, and I was just like loving it. Went to school the next day. I was in the 3rd grade. I showed up. I couldn't wait to show all of my little friends at school. I showed up and they laughed me right out of the classroom. I was so embarrassed. I ran out of the classroom. I ran to the little boys' room. I stuck my head underneath the sink and I ran water and I took all the braids out.
Aww, yeah, that was so sad.
Yep, that was the end of the braids.
You know, that's how like little kids just mess up like other little kids. Like you literally were so happy about your hairstyle, and then they didn't like it because they were not comfortable and whatever, and it probably ruined cornrows for the rest of your life. And here you are, 40 whatever,
and ain't got no hair.
Don't got no hair, but you remember it so distinctly. Like that's like a marker in life. That's sad.
Yeah. She got over it. She got over it.
Kinda.
Look, half of them people are probably in jail. The other one's got 14 baby mamas, so I don't give a damn. Who's winning now?
Who's winning now, bitch? Oh, Lord. Oh.
Speaking of looks, y'all hear about that model that was protesting the monkey look for Fashion Week in New York?
Yes. So what's
I'm
interesting?
so tired of this shit.
What's interesting about it is, and I forget what the designer's name, but this was a FIT fashion show. So this was a senior from FIT. This person's fashion show, and the person is from China or Japan. They're Asian, and this was supposed to be like high concept or whatever, but none of the faculty, nobody around like really like stood up for why this should not be a thing.
And then one person said, "Oh, you could be uncomfortable for 45 seconds." Bitch, bye. No.
No, it's a no for me.
It's a no for me.
And like, my thing is too, like this. What was the company that had the monkeys on the bag? I forget.
Gucci.
Was it Gucci?
Was it Gucci?
Gucci.
I think so.
So if
it's
you
Gucci.
in fashion, I know you hear about other fucking designers making these mistakes.
Just last year.
Just last year. So the fact being that you added this to your fucking line, to your runway, is ridiculous. It just shows that you are not in your right lane. This is not your testimony, and you need to go back to school, get your money back, your refund, and figure out something else in life.
This is not your ministry.
It's not your ministry. Absolutely not.
And the killer part about it is the reason that they said that they chose the big lips, which was part of a sex, it was a sex toy, like the big lips or whatever was a sex toy. The big bushy eyebrows and the ears is because they wanted to, for some reason, highlight the quote unquote ugly features. That's what they wanted to highlight. So if you got big ears, you got big lips, and you got bushy eyebrows, that means that you're ugly, you're not attractive.
Yet your ass is still this first one in line to go get some Botox and fillers in your lips.
You know what? I mean,
like Houseway. Like I'm over this. Like,
bah.
Like,
but it makes me sad for It makes me sad for like the models that are in the show because they're being hired for a job. They have no context, for like what's like they go through fittings. Like when I was in fashion school, I kind of went through this before, and you go through fittings with your models and whatnot, and they're just trying on clothes, but you don't do last looks until the day of the show, where you put on, like, if you're doing anything extra from a makeup standpoint, from a hair standpoint, from an accessory standpoint, you don't do that to the day of. So this, these people showed up, and I'm sure, like, for a lot of the white people, they were just like, oh, okay, well, it's not a big deal. This doesn't, they don't see the connections. But for a Black person, right, you're already hypersensitive to things that it doesn't matter what the intent is, it's the perception. And the last thing a Black person wants to do is walk down the aisle looking like a jigaboo.
Like, literally, she's going to walk down this fucking, sorry for the dropping F-bombs left and right, but, like, you're going to walk down this runway with monkey lips and ears and butch. Fuck out of here.
Ain't got nothing to do with the clothes on their back.
Nothing. You know what? Maybe the clothes were that bad. They were that unimpressive that they had to pull some theatrics to get people to even notice their damn clothes. That's what it was.
And I'm just glad that the Black model stood up and said, "No, I ain't wearing this shit." Like,
hell yeah,
because she was the only one. She was the only one out of the 12 models that they had on the runway that did not wear it. She was the only Black person.
And this is why we continue to say we need allies in these spaces, in all spaces. We need people to speak up, see something, say something. Is that what they say in, like, the Metro?
Yes, ma'am.
Like, see something, say something, because this is ridiculous. Like, I would have taken all them lips and ears and smashed the shit out of them, not even give a damn, and walk out that bitch.
Mm-hmm. I just don't understand, like, how the faculty, like, even if they had no idea what was going on, how can you not have the wherewithal to be able to look at this and see the connection and see how this is going to be perceived? Number one. Number two, the girl actually spoke up. And for somebody to say to her, you can be uncomfortable for 45 seconds, meaning while you're doing this walk, you can be uncomfortable,
That means you really don't give a damn.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means.
I mean, I love the saying that Amanda Seales has started, especially with companies that do shit like this or people that do stuff like every place need a Jamal the intern. Like someone like POC just to check you and be like, see what you're not gonna do. Is this shit right here?
Right.
Because you got me and everybody else fucked up. Because I'll go to HR real quick because people will get it together real quick. As soon as you talk about going to HR,
exactly.
Like, whoa. I am so sorry, Jamal. I didn't mean to offend you.
And the killer part about it is you shouldn't have to need a Jamal. You should have people who just understand the social relevance of these kinds of moves and how this can be perceived. But the reality of it is time and time again, we see people who are culturally clueless and choose to ignore, the plight that this has to Black people.
I don't expect no non-POC to ever just get it. If they do get it, I just give them an extra high five. Like, okay, I see you, I like you, you an ally. But as far as I'm concerned, until a non-POC shows me that they get it, they understand, y'all, same box as far as I'm concerned. You got to show me. Because otherwise, I'm just going to go around and get my feelings hurt. No more of that.
You know who else is deleted, though, in my box? I said it last episode. I'm saying it this episode. Homegirl Wendy Williams. Delete. It's like she's just getting on my last nerve. Like, my absolute last nerve. Like, go sit down somewhere. Like, I guess she already is.
She ain't got no ass to go sit down somewhere. Y'all see how she be uncomfortable in that damn chair.
That part. That part. And for
I already said what I had to say about Wendy Williams, so...
That's your homegirl. I don't know why you keep defending Wendy Williams. And then did you see her yesterday? What's today? Tuesday? Yeah. So we're recording on Tuesday. Sorry. How Drew Carey's ex fiance got murdered. She was thrown over a balcony by her new boyfriend.
Oh my fucking God.
And Wendy Williams gets on her show and says, "Come on down." Bitch, no, you're not doing that. And literally the whole audience got quiet. And like Wendy notices it, and she's like, and she gets uncomfortable. She like starts shifting, and Twitter's in an uproar right now. They're like, okay, last week you're gonna say shit about gay men don't get in our heels and shit, and then the next week you're gonna say this about a girl that just got freaking murdered. See, have several, Wendy. I cannot. Like the shit is not even funny anymore because now you know what you're saying. You're a grown ass woman. You know what the hell you're saying.
I can't
Bye.
say cannot.
I just requested tickets for a show for the next couple of weeks.
That's worse than you saying I go to Chick-fil-A. That's worse than you saying I'm going to Chick-fil-A.
No, it ain't. No,
yes,
it ain't.
Is.
No, it's
it
not.
Is too.
No,
it's
first of all, I'm not
worse.
spending. No, it's not. Here's the reason why. Because it's not. Because I'm
it's
not
a free ticket.
Yeah, because I'm not spending my money to support that. Absolutely not. No.
You being in the audience is supporting her show for her to continue to say outlandish shit like this.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between somebody who says something that's out of pocket
multiple times, continuously, habitually.
No, I would not say habitually. I would not say continuously. I would say that it's happened a couple of times.
Too. She used to say shit about the trans community as well. So this is not her first time. She has a habitual history of this.
I mean, I will say, first of all,
she does.
First of all, I would say this conversation is missing an element of grace.
Wendy done got me hyped. Come on, Jerrell. Auntie Grace and Jerrell this week.
Look, y'all know she been waiting. She been waiting. I've been waiting.
She been waiting 54 episodes. No, I'm all the way done with Wendy. But what's your element of grace about Wendy?
I don't know. A part of me has to believe that a part of this is just her trying to get people, trying to trend, just trying to stay relevant. You know,
duh.
We know a lot of
all
people
y'all following with this stuff.
You know, I mean, that's part of the entertainment world is you have to entertain, and part of entertaining is pissing people off, and it's not just about the joy; it's about the anger as well too. I mean, think about fucking old dude in the White House right now. How often he's saying shit out of the side of his fucking head.
He's deleted as well.
Right. But just to get people riled up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of the entertainment. That's how you get people to.
So she gets a pass? Focus. She gets to say whatever the hell she
no
wants
one's
to say?
No one's saying she gets a pass, but you kind of have to look at it from the business side, which is she's doing what she's doing what she needs to do to keep getting them checks.
It's not that I don't understand that
aspect. And here's what I would say. Like, there are so many other things to be spending your energy on besides Wendy Williams. I could understand. I don't need. Can I just get my point across?
Yeah, sorry.
I could understand if I told you, I came ready today. I gave you 1 week off, so I gotta come back.
I don't know why she's sticking up for Wendy, but go ahead, girl.
Well, first of all, she's my girl, and I peep her game because I take it for what it is, and I'm not going to get bent out of shape over something that doesn't really mean anything. What I'd rather do is spend my time and energy on something that's well worth it. So if I'm going to get upset about something, I'm going to get upset about something that actually has an impact on my life.
But my point is, you're going to her show. Then that means you think it's worth her energy to say this shit.
Wait,
you're
what?
Literally taking time out of your day to go to her show. Where she's habitually saying stuff about the gay community and bad timing about a girl who just got murdered, who got thrown over a balcony, and her comment is to come on down. So that means
There was a difference between entertainment.
I think Dawon's gonna be that person in the audience that if she says something out of pocket, Dawon would be like, see what we're not gonna do. Right. Dawon would be the person like in the NBA saying, bitch. Dawon will be the person that's gonna get escorted out doing the commercials because she didn't read Wendy right there and be like, see this that affects my life directly. So what you not gonna do? Right. Next cue card. We ain't going there. Right.
And the crazy thing is, like, her producer's like a gay guy. So I know I completely get the business side. I completely get it. I understand that I'm in business all day, every day. I get it. However,
she got you talking about it.
To continue to give her a hall pass. What'd you say, Jerrell?
I said, however, she got you talking about it, sis.
Right.
Like,
she all bent out of shape.
But that's the point.
I think we need to talk about it because we need to start deleting her show and saying, okay,
see,
you know
now
what?
This is the kind of fake rage.
Way too many times.
This is the kind of fake rage that I be talking about. Like, at the end of the day, there are so many other things. We cannot do a comparison of Wendy Williams.
Let's talk about something else then. Let's move on. What's the other things?
Wait a minute. You can't get all your words out and then cut me off just because I have a different opinion.
We're going to talk about no more.
No, yes, we are.
Community is wine day, and I'm just over here drinking my glass of wine, okay? I just want y'all to know right now.
That you want. But I'm going to get my point out right now.
You said you already got your point out.
There was a big difference. There was a big difference between financially supporting a company that is actively campaigning against your rights to live as a human being versus somebody that says something slick and out of pocket. Those are two completely different things, and they do not deserve the correlation. That's point number one. And hold up, because I see you moving your lips. And let me finish my comment.
I just don't have to agree with your points.
let me finish my comment, girl.
Right now. I don't have to agree with your points.
You don't, but you don't have to interject either. You can let me get my point out so I can have it.
I was letting you. You keep on commenting about what I'm about to say.
Jerrell, am I losing my mind here? Why is she flapping her gums? Why is she flapping her gums?
Wait, Dawon, is this what it's like when me and Kerel be going at it? And this is what it be like? Look, girl, I'm sitting here like... I'm shook right now. This is so funny to me. I don't know why. I only have one glass of wine, y'all. But I am dying over here. I'm like, oh. I'm just like watching my sisters go back and forth. Like it's like a game of tennis of Venus and Serena. Venus and Serena right now. 4D love.
Okay, carry on. We can go to the what are we talking about next, Kerel?
Point two, I'm listening.
Okay, how about this? How about we talk about the reactions that Dwayne Wade has been getting about his support for his daughter, Zaya.
That too. That one's pissing me off too. Boosie, go sit down. Go have several. Because I don't know why Boosie even cares.
Explain for people what happened.
So a lot, I won't say a lot, but people are getting upset with Dwayne Wade for supporting his daughter of being transgender. She's no longer Zion. She's Zaya. Zaya. And so, like, I know ever since he put the little clip on Instagram and Twitter of Zaya explaining his thought, or her, sorry, I'm trying to get the pronouns correct, explaining her thought process and where she is, they put it up on IG. A lot of people are supporting her, saying, hey, you know what? You realize who you are way more than a lot of people do at the age of 50, 60,
including
70,
Wendy Williams.
Continue. Don't do it. Don't do it. Look.
You keep on saying, spending energy on her.
Jesus, take the wheel, the axles, the gas tank, the blinkers, the XM radio, take the seat warmers, take the seat belts, get us to our destination.
Take it all, Jesus. But now you have people like Lil Boosie, which I don't know why people. I mean, I used to like Lil Boosie. INDEPENDENT. You know. Anyway, but he's going out on Twitter and everything saying, "Okay, Dwayne Wade, you're going too far. Why are you supporting him to be a her? Don't cut his dick off." Like all this stuff that's like so irrelevant. But as a gay black kid, like it literally takes me back to me being 12 years old and knowing I'm gay, but being fearful to not have support in my community. And these are the reactions, honestly, that a lot of us fear about coming out or being exactly who we are. Lil Boosie, it doesn't pertain to you. And all the people that are going against Dwayne Wade supporting him, it has nothing to do with you, you know? And so that's the crazy thing about it. And so for these outlandish remarks and then saying Dwayne Wade's a bad person for supporting his kid, that's wild to me. That is so wild to me. Like, it's literally he's the ideal of what we want, and then now people are going against that.
This cuts to the core of toxic masculinity specifically within the Black community, because I've had a couple of instances on my own Facebook timeline from family members sharing like memes and commentary specifically that are like, I won't say anti-gay, but it's more focused on like, I would say anti-trans is what it really is. Yeah. And there is like this underpinning of being what it means to be a Black man, that, you know, you can't be effeminate, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And it just, this is a lack of education issue. Because how can you be like all cool with like guys being gay? Because even Lil Boosie said, "Oh, it's one thing if he's gay, but don't cut your son's dick off." Like, how do we go from like this guy's just this guy is supporting his child, and whatever identity that his child has or recognizes at this moment. And that does not mean that defines that child for the rest of their life. That child has the right to define themselves through their entire life. But it's the parent's responsibility to show unconditional love and support, and not to feel like they should be fearful within their own home where they're supposed to feel safe. And this is so counter to the Black experience, because as Black men, you're taught to be uber masculine, not afraid of anything, don't show any emotions and all this stuff. And it cuts at the core of who people are. And some people just aren't cut that way. Mm-hmm. And the role of a parent is to show love, support, and make sure that your child feels safe so that they can grow up being the best version of themselves and knowing that people will support them and love them. And it's frustrating for me because I've seen, like I said, a couple of posts on my own timeline from family members. I'm like, now I have to reevaluate some of my relationships. I thought we were cool, but if where you draw the line is between, if you're Black and gay, you're okay. But if you're Black and trans, now we got a problem with you and I hate everything about you, then you have a problem with me because I stand for my trans brother and sisters.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I think it's really disrespectful for parents to judge other parents first, because everyone's situation is not the same. I also think it's disrespectful for a parent to judge a parent for loving their child. I think that shows a person and they're unable to do something themselves, so they reflect that issue onto them and they start making it an issue when it's in fact their own issue, because they're unable to be able to do that for their child. They want to get mad. Exactly. They want to get mad at the other person that can do better than them.
Right. And projecting their fears upon those people as well.
I mean, I agree with Dawon. I think they definitely took them supporting Zaya to a whole nother level. Like, yes, we know that when someone's trans, that they transition. However, the transition is at their time. Just because all of a sudden they say, well, I want to be a male now, or I want to be female now, doesn't mean they're going out the next day and they're going to become the opposite sex. It is a transition. You have to have your hormones. You have to take different types of medicine to actually get your body to where you need it to be. To even
you have to be psychologically evaluated,
and that too. So they really ran with this, and the fact that they ran with this with a child just infuriates me, because one, I believe we need to protect all children at all costs.
100%.
Every child deserves to be loved, protected, and feel happy. Because the truth is, when you're an adult, life is rough. It's hard. So you only get those first 18 years when you're legally considered a child to really just thrive, learn, make your mistakes, etc. This is part of being a child, is also discovering who you are. We can all go back to when we were 12 years old or 8 years old, and we did something that back then we were like, oh, actually, you know what? I knew I was gay then. I should have known I was gay then. So my hat goes off to Zaya. I don't know if y'all saw that video that Dwayne posted about Zaya talking about transition and acceptance and stuff. Mm-hmm. To be that just
mindful
and mindful at 12 years old. My God, some adults can't even fucking comprehend or understand half the fucking shit that she said at 12 years old. So I'm sorry if a 12-year-old who, as far as I'm concerned, knows who she is.
Yeah.
I'm listening. For sure.
It also raises,
and I don't blame the parents.
It also raises the question, if this offends you so much, what is going on in your life?
Nothing.
No, I think there is something. Because I think for some people, the thing that you are most scared of are the things that you fight against the most. And I'm not going to sit up here and call somebody out their name, but I think one has to question, why does it bother you that much when it has absolutely nothing to do with you?
And it's the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown. A lot of people fear what they don't know. you know, and it's ignorance that comes part of it. They're like, people don't know because they're ignorant. They don't take the time to know. And so they are by default choosing to be fearful and angry and hateful towards others.
Right.
If people just took the time to just learn and understand that there are different types of body types, different types of sexual orientation, different types of whatever out there in life, you would learn to have acceptance. But as soon as you choose not to, you're living in this bubble that you made, and it ain't right.
And you hear it a lot within the trans community that a lot of times folks always take it back to sex, always takes back to that sexual part of it, where that's only a percentage of the whole journey and situation at hand. Especially for a 12-year-old, this has nothing to do about sex.
It's
this
identity.
literally has everything to do about identity and how I feel I was born. And so for Boosie in particular, to instantly go towards the sexual part of it, it's literally such a stereotyping a thing that the trans community, you hear that in every single story. And like Jerrell said, to put it upon a 12-year-old, Dwayne Wade did, and Gab and his whole family, or her whole family, is doing exactly what we want our parents to have done, or, you know, like, and I mean, some people had supportive parents, etc. So I'm not trying not to say that, but Dwayne Wade is literally doing exactly what he's supposed to do, protecting his kid.
Yeah. What I appreciate is that even out of the vitriol that we are seeing, and like, there are a lot of posts out there, not just Lil Boosie, but who was it? Ricky Smiley had posted something, and you look at all of the comments in there, and it's just hatred and ignorance. Really, it's ignorance. But what I do appreciate that's happening right now is that we're in a moment where the dialogue is happening. The fact that we're talking about this, the fact that people are not standing by idly and just allowing these kind of comments to kind of live. You know, I would love to see more support from our allies and more people speaking up. But the fact that we do have people that are standing up and supporting them and our other trans brothers and sisters and others who are in that community of transsexual or intersex or whatever it is that they identify. I love the fact that we're having the dialogue right now, because this is where education can actually happen.
So what's the difference between Wendy saying, I don't want gay men in heels and skirts? No, I honestly want to have...
You really want to go back to this?
But my point is, Boosie got on to get more followers. That's what all Boosie does. Everything Boosie comments on is literally the baiting that we're talking about Wendy does. He does the same thing day in, day out. That's why his followership is insane right now. So he goes on there, says whatever the hell he wants to say to gain followers, to increase his brand, which is the exact same thing Wendy is doing with her outlandish baiting to increase her brand. In her case, is ratings. We're talking about Boosie. So what's the difference in those cases then?
Well, Wendy,
do you want me to answer that? Hold on.
Wendy,
who are you asking that question to?
Either whomever.
Well, can I answer first?
Go ahead, sis. Absolutely.
Because since we didn't finish our conversation,
don't get the head rolled like it's an honest question.
The bottom line is,
hold on, before we start, hashtag never let it go.
The bottom line is, I'm not bothered by either one of them. I'm not bothered by Boosie particularly, and I'm not bothered by Wendy. So, but what I am focused on is the underlying conversation that needs to happen as it relates to our community and what people are saying. I'm not saying cancel. You haven't heard me say cancel Boosie.
But I guess
I'm not saying that. So the difference is how much energy you're going to put towards the person versus putting towards the issue.
So,
that's
but I guess
difference.
Why was it? But your conversation just now was just saying that we need to have the conversation when people say this. So when I bring up the conversation about Wendy saying it, you didn't want to have that conversation. But Boosie says it, we have the conversation.
No, it wasn't that I didn't want to have a conversation about... What I didn't want to have the conversation about is focusing on the person, which is Wendy Williams, or insert anyone else. So it's not about what Wendy said. It's about the conversation that needs to happen about the pattern of behavior that we see out there in media and in our personal lives that needs to be discussed.
Should bring it up.
So I'm not advocating for a cancel this one person. I'm not advocating for cancel Wendy. I'm not advocating for cancel Boosie. What I am advocating for is let's have the dialogue around why this conversation is happening, why people are not aware, just like we just had this whole conversation about, you know, the lips and the ears. It wasn't about, I'm not vilifying.
Why isn't Wendy aware then? Why haven't you addressed that one, I guess? Why we're like...
Well, because I didn't get the chance to do that.
But this is not the first time we've talked about it, is my point. So don't go there.
No, you're cutting me off again. That's the thing. If you want me to answer the question, you have to let me answer the question.
Lots of celebrities are out here putting their foot in their mouths, and it's not about the platform. It's about, and I understand what you're saying, Kerel. It's about the damage that they do by saying these negative things.
Right.
And I understand what you're saying, but I also understand what Dawon is saying, that like there are some things to be pressed about and there are some things to not be pressed about. You know, some things, like for instance, like especially when it comes to cultural things, like the whole Lil Boosie thing, or people having, you know, talking to Dwayne Wade, you know, having the negative, like that's a lot of our people saying hurtful things to our people. So it's easier to be pressed about that than Wendy Williams, who is literally just doing her damn job. Like her whole platform was built on doing said things. It's nothing shocking. It's not brand new. It's not, oh my God, this is 2020. Like, no, that's Bobby Waters. We're used to this from her. We know what to expect from Wendy. But when you got other people who are getting out of their lane and now they're trying to make fuss of things, or they're trying to bait people when that's never been their thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Boosie, that's always been his thing. That's why I compared it to.
No, I mean his thing started off in music first. It was never that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Wendy from the get-go has always been, I'm stirring the pot. She's always said things left of center so many times.
But when do we check them? Like, do I always have, you know?
You know, she should have been checked a decade ago. But the thing is, it's now isn't the time to check her. The time to check her.
If I agree.
The time to check her has passed. Honestly, it has passed. Just like a lot of these politicians that are in office that are doing shit and saying shit that they shouldn't be. Guess what? Their time has passed, especially every fucking election that came that got them back in the fucking house. You know what I'm saying? Like, the things to be pressed about now are the things that we can actually change, which is having the dialogue about stuff like Zaya and protecting our trans kid. Those are the things that we can change. But talking about Wendy doesn't change anything.
It's not even about Wendy. It's about what she said is my point. So like if we're checking all these other people about what they say against our community, she's coming after our community. Even though, yes, I agree, that's her career. I get that. However, I'm going to always get upset if, especially her, like literally her producers get, like, if I was her producer, I'd be livid because I'm like, I'm with you day in, day out, and you're going to say this shit? No. Like, and she's our people as well. She's a black human being.
It could be the same thing about Kanye. Like, that's another person. That, right, exactly. But look what has happened. Absolutely nothing. It's wasted energy because no, I don't think it's a different conversation. It's the same conversation.
I think we need to have the conversation, not a different conversation.
Okay, my apologies. But again, it's in that same category of people in our community who has built a platform of just literally just provoking people. Like, those are, unfortunately, there are people, but at the same time, there is literally, it's just wasted energy trying to give them our reaction. If you really want to cancel them, don't talk about them. Don't look at them. Don't
spend your energy,
because literally their job is to provoke a reaction.
Stir the pot.
So if you are reacting, you are literally doing exactly what they want.
But then why did we just spend a segment talking about Zaya and Boosie then?
First of all, we said that because because here's the difference. The part, it wasn't about Lil Boosie. It was about educating about the trans kids. Okay.
Right.
I don't know who Lil Boosie is. I ain't checking for Lil Boosie. the point of the conversation for me was never about Lil Boosie. The point of the conversation was only about Zaya. And so for the difference is your conversation was about Wendy and the actions and her actions and the conversation. It was about both. Whereas for this last conversation, it was just about Lil Boosie. And I mean, it wasn't about Lil Boosie. It was about protecting Zaya and parenting correctly. It wasn't about him because he's not the only person saying this. There are thousands and thousands of other people saying it.
And let's be clear. My point of view is not to change anyone else's point of view or perspective. I'm not saying, oh, well, I'm just saying my point of view isn't to change your mind or to change Jerrell's mind or change anyone else's mind that they should think or feel or support anyone differently than what they have. I think the reason we have this platform is to discuss the issues. Whether somebody is quote unquote canceled or not, if that person is canceled for you, that's great. That's fantastic. But that does not mean, before you interject, that does not mean that the person that you choose to be canceled because your sensibility and your values have been offended, or for whatever reason that is, that means that I have to share that. I rather focus my energy on what is the issue at hand versus the individual that's stirring the pot.
How about we focus this energy on Ask Your Aunties?
Just a rebuttal real quick.
We should focus our energy on this Ask Your Aunties.
It's not because now we didn't. Hold on, because
for the listeners, because now we have like backtracked. We are already on an hour.
I know
we are
we're
already at an hour.
But I'm about to say, like you say, I don't want you guys putting words in my mouth. Mm-hmm. It's not about canceling Wendy Williams. It's about her saying that gay men should not be in high heels, should not be in dresses. That's the issue I want to check, because there's a stereotype still that she's putting out there on her platform that a lot of people out there continue to say about our community. Point blank, period.
I will say this, honey. Point. You will listen back to this. You also did say, why aren't we canceling her too?
I get it.
You have
exactly
the underlying point. I get it, but I just want to make sure that I'm clarifying for everyone out there listening. The reason I'm so upset with her that I want to cancel her is because of the projection that she's putting on our community.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
And it's not just one time. So that's what I want to clarify.
And the best thing is there are two sides to every coin. There's an up and there's a down, and there's a left and a right. And there's also an Ask Your Aunties that we should probably get to too. So we're going to do a hard ass right, because now it's time for Ask Yo Aunties. All right, so today's question comes from Anonymous, and it says, I want to ask a question to the aunties. My best friend and I have been inseparable for the past eight months. Originally, we started casually dating and hooking up, but both agreed we are better off friends. We cut off hooking up outside of having threesomes, but lately our friendship has become a little toxic. For example, if I'm hooking up with someone, he will always want to know with who. I've made it clear it's none of his business, and he laughs it off. Recently, we've run into my ex several times. We're friendly, we say hi, glad you're doing well, and that's it. The latest time my best friend says, I give you permission to hang out with your ex. That comment threw me off, way off. And I say, I don't need your fucking permission to hang out with anyone. So lately I feel I'm almost in an actual open relationship. I've tried bringing up his possessiveness over me, and he says I'm overthinking it, and it's not true. My question to the aunties is, how else should I approach to this?
Drop him.
Yep.
It's a wrap. Yep. It's a wrap. Your instincts are spot on. This person, whether they're willing to admit it or not, they're into you more than they're willing to let on, and their possessiveness is a direct relationship to their to like them liking you more than really that you're into them. So why have this? Listen, if at the end of the day you're supposed to be best friends, you should be able to talk about anything. You should be able to be open and honest with one another. You should be able to have disagreements like we're having this disagreement today, but at the end of the day, there should still be mutual respect for who you are as a person. Absolutely. And not this idea that you are a possession that needs to be controlled or monitored. And if this person is not giving you that mutual respect, they are not the person for you, not even as a friend. Because they're showing you they don't have the capacity to be your friend. So the fact that you guys have commingled your sexual relationship with your actual relationship means that they are not ready for that kind of experience.
Oof, you nailed it. Like they're showing they're not emotionally able, like Dawon said, to handle a friendship, a sexual relationship, open whatever relationship. Like clearly they don't know how to handle their emotions in this situation. I'd run for the hills. Because it's not worth the time and energy. It's just like,
you're young. You're supposed to be having fun. The fact that you're not in a relationship means that you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want without any consequences. Like, why would you need your quote unquote best friend who you supposedly having sex with every so often, but they're like keeping tabs on who you're fucking and who you're hanging out with? No, bad with that. You got to go.
I mean,
send them over to that place where they serve coffee with no shirts. Send him over there. I'm making an assumption. I think they live in Seattle, so I don't know, but maybe they're in Minnesota. I don't know where they are, but
spilling all 18.
Go somewhere.
I mean, I will say this. I agree with you guys. I think you just got to be done. I mean, because the truth is, if a person can't respect you, that's not a friend. That's not a lover. That's not anything. That's just someone that's controlling. If they are always monitoring what you're doing, where you at, all the rest, that's just nothing but manipulation. And you don't deserve that, point blank, period. No one does. Furthermore, I hope you learned your lesson that you need to stop fucking your friends.
Ooh, right. That part.
Look, I mean, there's a song, Lovers and Friends, for a reason, okay? Everybody can't be it.
That's true.
It's not for everyone. Some people are just strictly just to be friends. And as fine as they may be, as big as their booty may look, as juicy as that mouth may look, don't go to it.
Mouth do.
What that mouth do. Stay away.
Right.
Run.
You have to be...
Yeah, because you got to start all over.
And you have to be mature enough to be able to recognize if that's something that you could even handle. Like, not everybody's built like that. Not everybody's built. I know that a lot of people have a lot of friends that are out there hooking up with their friends and, it seems to be working and blah, blah, blah. But not everybody's built in the same way. And whether it's you or your friend, you have to be mature enough to recognize if this situation is not working out for you and you feel like you're now in like a three-way relationship or you feel kind of trapped or whatever, listen to your gut. You like your body speaking to you and telling you what you need to do. And whether that means that you can no longer be friends with this person, I'm not saying you can't be. It will be very difficult. I will tell you that just based on mother's experience, it will be very difficult for you to have a friendship now that you've seen each other's ecstasy face and you've had this kind of experience. So I would just be very cautious about how you move forward.
I'm going to say this. Medea once said, sometimes you got to act a fool to get results. So maybe you just need to go the fuck off on this person. Stop being nice.
Don't go to jail. No. Don't listen to AunTea.
I didn't say go to jail. But you have to have a AunTea Hennessy moment, and you just have to pop all the way off and let it be known. See what you're not gonna do.
Or
it's like you my mommy or my dad. Like you like my mommy or my daddy, because you're not. Okay,
that part.
I run this shit. Period.
You're not my daddy, you're my man. Is that Kelly Price song?
Don't sing that because he'll be thinking you his man. So don't do that. Don't sing that to him.
No mixed signals at all.
But no, I mean, I think you just draw that line in the sand.
And clearly that person must be hurt too. Like that's what it really is. Like it seems like that person's the way, if they're hurt, that's how they emote that emotion, which is not good. Like they need to be able to handle that emotion, be like, okay, I'm hurt. How do I communicate this properly to this human being? And since they're not able to do it, I'm not your teacher. I'm not here to teach you. Go to therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing, I just thought of this. this may be a competition thing. This person may be in competition with you. Like the person that you're fucking, the reason why they're so pressed with who you're messing with and whatnot, because maybe they're thinking, oh, I can get them too, or I can't get them. And that's bringing up a whole, so they may be you don't know, you might not know that you're in competition with your,
like,
with your
so-called. You can do, I can do better.
Exactly. Like all of this, like all the shit that's going on that you're picking up on is toxic. Every last bit of it. And it takes a whole lot of work and really good communication skills to be able to work through this successfully and maintain a friendship. And honey, I don't. If you come into your aunties for this, I would say cut it loose.
You already know. You
Not
already
ready.
know the answer.
You cut it loose. Yeah.
No.
But
Get them
scissors
fucking where
out.
you lay. Stop fucking where you lay. Don't do it.
Cut
Don't.
them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Snip, snip.
No.
No.
I mean, can
Now,
you imagine,
question for you-
like, can y'all imagine, like, just, like, messing up the friend group dynamic like that, you know?
The
like,
whole
just,
energy of it.
I
did that.
I couldn't do
I
it.
did
It's just
that.
too precious.
I did it once.
Oh, it's too precious.
Oh, really?
For me.
I did it once.
Yeah.
Yep. I did it once. It was a long time ago. And, you know, like mess around with somebody that was like, in my mind, it was like completely platonic or whatever. We were all single at the time. And, you know, but the other person had like deeper feelings for me than I had back. And for me, it was just kind of like, okay, well, there's like this sexual tension. Let's just kind of like get it in and let's call it a day. And blew the whole spot up. Blew
Literally
the whole
and
spot up.
figuratively.
Yes. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And, you know, like in hindsight, you realize like, oh shit, maybe I should not have done that or whatever. And it took a while to really realize like what exactly happened. But at the end of the day, you know, that's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. Like, you know, up until that point, you know, and just in the spirit of transparency, and I would love to know if you guys had a similar experience, but like, you know, I had sex with a lot of my friends.
Nope,
you know,
I have
not every last
slept
one
with
of them.
Not a single
But-
friend.
but not so much folks that were in like my inner circle, but like
acquaintances.
yes,
Okay,
Yes.
I'll say there's
Yep.
one,
yep.
but that was like no. And then this person
Yeah.
I don't even see anymore. So
No, yeah, no.
But,
I
like,
like them fresh out the
definitely
boat,
not inner
fresh
circle.
in the city,
No, not in
fresh
the inner
out the
circle.
closet. I like them
Mm-mm.
fresh.
you said Downy bitch.
Look, they don't call me the gatekeeper for a reason, bitch. Like I'm always ushering these new
I
gays
don't know how to
in.
take that.
I'm always ushering these new gays in, like all the time. Every person I've ever been with has been a new
Like
gay.
Usher. Ooh.
Right.
No, I'm
That's
a
not a good.
gatekeeper.
That's not a good sexual reference.
Huh.
No, I'm just ushering them in. Like
That's
the church,
funny.
you know, with my little white gloves on, be like, I'm gonna lead you to your cue. Come
Part
on.
of the Usher board, not the Usher board, the Usher. But speaking of messiness,
But
we
hold
do
on,
have
but
a
thank you.
follow-up.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
thank
do?
you for that question.
Yeah,
by
thank
the
you
way.
for the question.
But we do have a follow-up from last week's Ask Your Aunties. And if just you don't remember, last week's Ask Your Aunties was talking about the age gap where what the anonymous person said one of their best friends is 34-year-old woman. They had been dating a 21-year-old male. And it's driving them crazy because there's so much growth that happened in your 20s. Well, we received an update.
Dun, 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 dun.
And it goes, loved hearing everyone's response to this question. I'll give you a follow-up. I'm also the friend that will say something, and this is pertaining to Jerrell's comment back to this anonymous person. And I noticed him being emotionally abusive to her. So I spoke up, and long story short, she isn't speaking to me right now. And I'm not sure when she will. They broke up, and it was super messy. They unexpectedly got pregnant, and he forced her to end it.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm letting her have her space. I think she realized I was right, but who really knows and who would really want to admit something like that after a trauma? Life is weird. Don't date 21-year-old folks. Yeah.
I'm torn because, you know, I'm also the petty friend. So I would also just make sure every time like we're in the same area, I just be looking at her smiling like, hey girl, how you doing? You all right over there? You need to talk about it? Oh,
Right.
you're not ready? Okay. You know where to find me. My number's still the same. like
Beat me
part of
911.
right. part of me is like that. But the other part of me is choosing to end a life as far as pregnancy goes. I have had friends who have had to do that. And it is something that's hard and something that sticks with you because that what if is forever. That what if is going to be with you forever. And that is just a whole thing of baggage that it's hard to process. And I would encourage you actually just to reach out, not being like, told you so, but just being like, hey, girl, I just want to check in on you, see how you doing, and let her know that you're available and just keep checking in, because she can be going through her own thing and she just doesn't have the bandwidth to handle the apology and the respect for your friendship because she's dealing with her own personal thing. I'm sure she's well aware that you are correct. But for her priority is not being like, hey, boo, hey, friend, thank you for being a good sis. Thank you for being there for me. Her priority is probably like, I just had to make this tough decision. I thought I was in this good relationship. I'm not. And she's probably having a hard time figuring out who she is at this point, that she can't even entertain the idea of being a good friend to you. And that's that's where when friendship comes in, where it's your turn to carry the torch as the one in the friendship and be like, you know what, you dealing, that's cool. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to come to you. That's the real thing to do.
I agree 100%. And the only thing that I would say is never apologize for being the best version of yourself that you could possibly be. So if your spirit told you, like the little voice inside of you said that you needed to speak on it and you chose to speak on it, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Your intention was 100% positive, but that also doesn't mean that you control the outcome of you speaking on it. So if you speaking on it means that it sacrificed the relationship, but at least that you were able to kind of give your friend the best part of you. And whether that was reciprocated with a friendship or not, in this particular moment or ongoing, it's out of your hands. At least that you said your part and you showed her that you were the best kind of friend that you can be to her, given the circumstances. And if it's meant to be for you guys to rekindle, as long as you're open to the possibility, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but at least there won't be any what ifs for you. Like, what if I didn't say this anytime sooner?
Yeah. And I think I agree with both of you guys. And just especially the part where clearly if she just had to give up a child and it doesn't sound like it was fully her decision, she's probably definitely not in the right mind frame to hear a told you so, and then B, to like Jerrell said, to even really reach out like to you. Like, she's dealing with the trauma of losing a relationship and a child that potentially that she wanted. Yeah. So I would give it space, but I would also, whenever it does thaw, I think I would hold the I told you so for the eternity, honestly, just because there's nothing to gain out of that at this point, the I told you so part of it. Nope. So, but we appreciate you following up. It got messy for sure, and I guess the conclusion is don't date 21-year-old folks.
Honestly, I'm still team do what you have to do. Yeah. That's whatever within your journey, but as a friend, you can speak your piece, but you can't control other people's thoughts, feelings, or actions. So, like if your spirit is telling you that you want to date this 21-year-old and you're 34, more power to you. We'll see you on the other side. Hope for the best, and we'll see what happens. But
yeah.
Thank you for sending us that follow up. We really appreciate it. Not many people send us a follow up to the Ask Your Auntie. So that was actually really refreshing to get an update.
I agree.
And just kind of let us know what the new situation is, since the last time we got the initial Ask Your Auntie. So,
and that was really pretty fast considering, that was a couple of
last episode.
That was whiplash. But hey, listen, if we did an Ask Your Aunties before and you're like, oh, well, I now have an update, let us know what that update is. People are interested in and want to know what happens, on the outset of, the advice that we give. Hopefully it works out for you, or, just the situations that happen as a result. So please let us know.
Absolutely. And also these Ask Your Aunties, like, keep sending them. Like, please keep sending them, because the Ask Your Aunties let everyone know that people are going through shit too. And there's such a stigma, especially with social media, that everything is rainbows and sunshine and no one is fucking struggling. Send us to Ask Your Aunties, and yeah, we'll give you your advice, our advice or our opinions. However, your question might be something that someone else is going through, and indirectly you may be saving and helping someone else grow and get out of something that they may not be in, they may need help getting out of. You may be helping someone learn to grow. So send us your Ask Your Aunties, no matter what it is. I mean, it's okay to have a thought. It's okay to think. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be right. But it's even better to be honest and be real over everything else.
Absolutely. And we love it. Like, even like, I know we're getting towards the end of the episode here, but we even like the random like pop culture stuff and reactions that you have to that. Like, I know, hey, Brian, he was talking about how how JHud did the tribute for Kobe at the All-Star game, which was incredible.
Hold up. I got a bone to pick with Miss Brian Hawkins, who came to New York and didn't even reach out to a sister. She was here all damn weekend, sitting on the sofa. Hello. I'm a comfort her ass when I get down. Well, let me rephrase that.
Yep, back that up.
I'm just playing. I know she was busy with Fashion Week, but no, it would have been nice to see you, girl, while you was in town.
But she had a reaction to like the JHud tribute to Kobe. And he said that here's a topic to bring to the table: JHud's tribute to Kobe. I wish all of the families that were impacted were part of the tribute. By no means is anything taken away or lessened by the Bryant family, and I do understand it being his honor, especially for the game and the location. However, we forget that other lives were lost and families equally impacted from this tragedy. I understand as a society and being media-based, the light always shines brighter on those of a celebrity and or social presence, but that doesn't and shouldn't diminish the same light of those who exist as well. Absolutely, he and his daughter are to be honored and celebrated, but so should all lives and that were lost in that tragedy. Loss and mourning shouldn't be validated based on name or status. It should be honored and simple humanity for all. But don't get me started speaking on it. and then he also sent another text saying there were other people that were actually at the event, and I guess they did some more tributes within the arena and everything that we might not have seen on TV. So what's your guys' reaction to that?
I think honestly, I think it's a little bit of a stretch because it's the NBA finals and they're saluting someone that had a direct impact on that. You know, like that was his platform to talk about the NBA. Like they should have been speaking specifically on Kobe Bryant and his family. Not to take away from the other families, okay? But he has his own legacy, and we can't forget that. And to bring the other people and to bury that on top of his legacy is not cool. Like, he deserves his own moment because he was his own person. He was his own husband, father, son, uncle, whatever. And if we can't respect the fact that he was his own individual just because he's a celebrity, that means we're boxing out people and we're putting them, excuse me, not boxing out people, but we're putting people in boxes that overshadow. At the end of the day, multiple people died, and every family has the right to grieve and represent those people in their own way. And the NBA did it for him because that's where they know him. They didn't know that family. They knew Kobe Bryant. And that was his connection to the NBA, not the other people that unfortunately passed away too.
I feel a lot of what Brian's saying, honestly, because the vast majority of the media coverage about what happened was about Kobe. And I get clearly that he was the most famous person in that helicopter. But, you know, even when it was released that there were other people, because people knew that Kobe was in that helicopter, because clearly the paparazzi was following him because he's Kobe Bryant. But when it was released that there were other people, the conversation was still about Kobe Bryant. So maybe and not particularly in that venue did it make the most sense to kind of like shout out or tribute to the others. But I do think that, we put these celebrities on such a pedestal that literally other people's families, were directly impacted as well. And we're not having that conversation. And,
Fact.
I just think for as public as this is, I do think it's unfortunate that people don't take the time to at least acknowledge the other people in any setting with which they are talking about this, this tragic event. That they are also sending out shout out and love and support to all the families that were impacted just like this. Just like, we do if somebody from the Black community or LGBTQ plus community or a female, is impacted by something, we, kind of raise it up to the entire community and those other people who are also affected by it.
I would have felt like it would have been ingenuine if they would have did that, because the truth of the fact is no one knew who those other people were until they unfortunately passed away on that plane with Kobe Bryant. So there was no way for them to accurately respect the lives of those people because they didn't know them. At that point, it would have been a fluff piece. I honestly feel like the genuine like love and respect of the situation would have been missed on them putting more spotlight on them because they didn't know them. There was no connection to them outside of Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying?
In my view, this goes back. I totally get it.
But I do think the original stuff should have all been about everybody, like TMZ, like all that should have been all the families. I completely agree with that. But NBA week, All-Star Weekend, NBA.
And this goes back to, so I guess my perspective is anchored in when we had this whole conversation about Greta, what's-her-face, being on the cover of Time. And you guys were having a conversation about, but there have been other people that were doing the same thing too. Like, in my view, it's the same conversation, So I totally agree, like, specifically at this basketball event, no, there's not an expectation that this should be about them because this was a tribute to Kobe. But in the same breath, when we're talking about what happened, there should be some acknowledgement of the fact that there were more than just one person, impacted by this. Yeah. And I feel like that we just missed that part of the dialogue.
And I see both sides of it. And especially probably as a families, they probably feel like, okay, what about me too? I lost a wife, I lost a kid, I lost whomever. But I also agree where it's the venue. That was his job. Say one of our family member passes or whomever, I don't know. I don't want to put anything negative out in the energy, but it's just like
walk that back, girl.
It's just like I'm trying to give an example, but not like. But it's just like you don't expect if there's multiple people in a crash, you don't expect to go to their job and be like, "Here's everybody." You're probably going to mourn more of that person who worked at the specific job.
Exactly.
Just because that's who you knew, that's who you interacted with. It is what it is. So it's like, yes, you hope to have some kind of tribute of everything, but the focus at that particular venue should be Kobe and his daughter, because that's where she would come to the games, and he knew a lot of the people there. Yeah, and then it sounds like they actually did do a tribute within the arena for the other folks as well. So I feel like it was a good, happy medium. But I agree with Brian, too, that there is a tendency to put more shine on celebrity because that's who the world knows those names, unfortunately and fortunately. Absolutely. So it's like you said, in one breath, it's one thing, but then it's also another thing. So, but once again, this wasn't an Ask Your Aunties, but we agree, we like these conversations that you guys bring to us so we could talk about it here on the podcast. So continue to do that as well, because we like interacting with you guys and always calling us out on our shit. I'm sure they're going to call me out on my shit on this episode.
Smithy.
Right, Smithy. Real quick.
Already.
Real quick. It was so funny. The other day, our friend Sean, and we'll get to that here, our friend Sean, like Jerrell, you and I both know Sean, and I was driving through the city, and I see him walking across the street. He was going to the gym, and I honk at him, and he's like, "Oh, who's this honking at me?" And so I text him when I get to my spot, and I'm like, "That was me honking at you." He's like, "Girl, I was listening to your podcast. Stop interrupting me." I was like, "Oh, that's cute," because he had his headphones and everything. So, hey, Sean, I'm sure you're hearing this now. But
I have to shout out Mike Vasquez because so Mike Vasquez is a friend of mine here in New York City. I met him a little bit ago. And he's done an intro for us, and he's been chomping at the bit to get his intro on. But Mike Vasquez, this is Black History Month.
This is Black History Month.
But then, you know what he gonna hit me with? He said, I did my 23andMe and I got about 3% of Senegal in me. So why can't you put my
by injection is a real thing. By injection is a real thing.
Lord help.
Right.
Ask and you shall receive. That's what
I don't even know if the community knows it. Like, particularly this month, every intro this month, we've had an African American person intro it.
Yes.
So
it's been blackity black,
blackity black
all day, all
and we
night.
got that extra day, so I'm just sorry.
If you look at most 99.9% of our posts this entire month has been featuring black people. So
that is true.
We're trying to give it up for the Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of black, I do want to stir the pot one last time before we hop off this bitch.
Okay.
The Summer Walker HIV dig. Okay. So for those of you who don't
Summer
know,
Walker having several seats.
right?
Facts.
Summer Walker posted on Twitter, I believe, and she goes, "Whoever stole my laptop off the LA flight last night can suck a fat, stinking, uncircumcised, HIV infested dick." Smiley face. First of all, I'm gonna start actually, even though I read this bitch. Because I want to read that bitch, okay? First of all, bitch, I thought you were canceled. I thought you had stopped your touring. I thought you were done with music because of your energy space. You didn't have the time and the energy to be dealing with that because your vibe and your space was just being infested. So the fact that you worried about your laptop on a plane that got taken is ridiculous. When we know, girl, you got the coins to replace another one. Second, what the fuck you doing on a damn LA flight where you don't see someone take your bag off the goddamn fucking plane? Oh, wait. Were your ass in the back like the rest of us black folks? Like the rest of us common folks and your shit was in the front? So someone snatched your shit before you got up? I don't know. You need to up your fucking status and you need to keep your shit underneath your fucking seat because it's a carry-on bag to begin with, not an overhead bag.
See.
Follow the rules and your shit won't get stolen.
I guess my whole point in this whole episode is I'm just so tired of folks, whenever they want to be sly about a comment, want to poke at anyone, they utilize the gay community to do so. And maybe that's my overarching point with Wendy, with Boosie, and now with Summer, is being gay is not a bad thing. Being our authentic self is not a bad thing. So anytime you want to poke and pry at anything, don't utilize the gay community. Keep us out your mouth. I'm not here for it anymore. So that's probably my overarching. So don't utilize the HIV community. Don't utilize the transgender community. If someone wants to wear a dress and heels, don't utilize them either. Keep all of us out of your mouths. Point blank, period. I'm over it. That's all I got to say.
I feel that. I think the thing that frustrates me is that this is someone who came out and said that they deal with severe social anxiety. And, you know, for someone to quote unquote pull themselves out of the public eye and pull themselves off of their tour to work on themselves, to utilize social media in a very negative way to spit out vitriol on something that was quite frankly inconsequential in terms of like your overall life and whatnot.
Speak on it.
You are inviting all the anxiousness, anxiety, frustration, aggravation, and pain right back into your life.
Yeah.
So at some point, you have to take responsibility for how you feel because you're putting that shit out there.
And I get being mad about losing shit. Like, don't get me wrong. But like you just said, you're literally inviting, especially when you say it in that manner. You could have got on there and just said,
especially-
whoever stole my laptop, please give it back. I'm
Right,
big mad.
But especially with the fact that you deal personally with anxiety from social interactions, and you choose to use social interactions to put that shit back out there. Like, it is very hard. And again, I apologize because I don't know enough about that function or dysfunction. But I have, it's hard for people to have sympathy for someone like Summer Walker, who talks out of their mouth and does actions in one way, and then talks out of their mouth and does actions another way that are completely contradictory, or the exact example of the thing that she doesn't want done for herself. It's very hard to sympathize for a person like that. So as far as I'm concerned, whatever you got, look, apparently your laptop deserved to be stolen, and whatever was on it, it deserves to happen to you because you have not learned your lesson about keeping your fucking mouth shut.
You know, look, you know what that karma means is, look, them leaks gonna come out soon eventually. Whatever's on that laptop, if there's anything juicy up on that bitch, it's gonna get leaked. But I also want to say,
don't nobody want to look at her. Don't
Facts.
nobody want, ain't nobody checking for her. And I'm not body shaming. I'm not, beauty shaming. I'm just saying nobody is really interested. You are not interesting. You're supposed to be healing. Shouldn't you be in a Buddhist monk, like with your legs crossed and like you doing ohms? Like, shouldn't you be working on your mental health instead of focusing on flying around the world and having your laptop here
like
there?
Kerel and Wendy
Come
right
on
now.
I will say this. I do just want to remind people that, using comments like HIV infested dick, that can go for any other community. It can go for someone gay, it can go for someone straight.
Right.
Okay. But it's not okay to increase the stigma and make it feel like that is something that's awful. We had that conversation in July on one of the episodes about the HIV stigma, and that's not cool to do that. Period.
Absolutely.
There are other things
100%.
you could have said, like, guess what? I hope you lose your whole paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I hope your hair fall out. I hope you lose your front 2 teeth. You could have said some other shit.
Stub your
Anything.
toe.
Right. Like hit that funny bone or something like that. I hope you can't come for the rest of your life. Some shit like that.
Right.
That ain't got nothing to do with other people but that person in particular. But you brought in a whole community of other people that have been having to deal with situations when it comes to HIV positive people, and that was uncool.
Look, the ugly that you put out in the world comes back to you.
Exactly.
Period.
And let's be honest, like, even though gays and straights could get HIV, the HIV stigma has been largely pointed towards our community.
100%.
She could have said herpy dick. She could have said any STI. But in her mind, still, there's something correlating with the gay community that's the worst thing on earth to be. And that's what pisses me the fuck off every single time. So that's why I get heated. So I want to apologize right now, Dawon, if I don't want to try to overtalk you or not hear you and things like that. But I was just so heated that it was just not about Wendy. It was just like, I'm tired of folks picking on the gay community and utilizing us as
I feel that
your joke lines. And I'm over it. And so that was the whole thing. So anyway, Summer Walker, have several seats. Bye, bitch. Like, we've been said bye.
She can be under the bleachers. She's not having any seats. She can be under the bleachers.
I mean, by the way, she'd be singing her songs. I'm sure she'd been under those bleachers.
Okay, then.
And on that note,
community,
download and subscribe.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Enjoy the last week of Black History Month, y'all. Bye.
Right.
Oh, and the NAACP Awards. We'll talk about the winners next week.
Yes. Love y'all.
Bye.